A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to today's edition of the Evening Review. It's our first edition of this week. My name is Taiwan Jabela, your host. Let's have a look at today's headlines.
Fly, reach for the sky. Accelerate your connectivity and soar with Paratus Sky-Fi, starting from only $799 Namibian per month and with internet speeds of up to 15 megabits per second. You get to spread your wings and fly high. Visit na.paratus.africa for more information.
Always prepared, Paratus.
Tonight we are welcoming back the Chief of the Namibian Police, that is Lieutenant General Sebastian Ndeitunga, to help contextualize some of the issues that have popped up in the media this morning. So General, welcome back to the show. We appreciate that you always make time for us. Very rare because a lot of our Namibian leaders are afraid to come in this seat. So thank you very much for coming back to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So there was that letter that seemingly it was leaked from one of your offices. It's authored by yourself to all the 14 regional commanders, telling them to be on alert and tighten security because the Chinese in Namibia feel, or basically globally, feel that they're being targeted in their businesses, and therefore Namibia must also sort of look into their safety. Give us context and the background to that.
Yeah, you are right. What happened is that I received a letter from the military attaché in the embassy of the People's Republic of China.
Yeah.
Explaining it to us about the incident, terrorism that occurred in or happened in Pakistan, in which incident 9 Chinese died, and 3 Pakistan as well. Then 36 others were injured, and it happened to be a terrorist attack or suicide. Based on that, I think the Chinese authority decided to ask the state or government in the world where Chinese are found to assist in protecting or providing safety to the Chinese citizens in those respective countries where they are found. Namibia is one of those countries where we have a big group of Chinese citizens in different categories, from diplomats to business community and probably technicians and the companies. So we were not spared from the requests by the Chinese authority after the incident that happened there in Pakistan, because the world is a global village, and because of the global safety and the protection of global citizens, government normally coordinate and exchange information to ensure that we provide the necessary basic security and the protection of citizens. It is common in the world. This is not the first time I receive a request of ensuring the protection of citizens of different countries. I used to receive some, only that the letters never leaked. This one, unfortunately, was handled by either negligently or purposely, was leaked to the media, but this was supposed to be in the circle of security. It caused a lot of comments. Some people also became security commentators. Some of them, they became expert in security. And you can only say thanks to democracy that every person now has got a voice in commenting on issues that are really probably affecting their lives. And that is good. And we from the security sectors, we are very much proud. When we are criticized, their critics are like advice for us to do things better than ever before.
Indeed.
So
what you're saying, General, is that this is a common practice. It's nothing untoward. You are not according Chinese or the Chinese anything special than outside the normal routine that you have always done things.
Exactly. Even when I received this, the letter that I have written to them is like, we are assuring you that everybody in Namibia will be protected, and they deserve to be protected by the government and by the security clusters. I did not specifically say we are going to protect the Chinese citizen. The scope of protection includes everyone. What we have to know also is that the terrorism in the world are very sophisticated nowadays. And any terrorists will never make an appointment to come and attack. And even when you are saying we are safer, that safety is not absolute. It's always relative, because the criminals or terrorists, they like it to surprise their victims, and therefore, even if we are saying in Namibia we are safe or safer, there is nothing toward the threatening or imminent threats toward the Chinese citizens or any other citizen in Namibia. We have to have always our intelligence higher, because we don't know when the terrorists are going to strike. Because we are part of the global security, part of this global village. Whatever happens in the other part of the world, it also it will become also a concern to us, because we are part of the equations of the global security.
Indeed. But in the broader scheme of things, General, I mean, when you are related to something like that, I would imagine that you also sort of try to satisfy yourselves. Are there some protocols that you follow to sort of validate some of these claims? And is there anything to suggest at all that the Chinese in Namibia are unsafe? Of course, you mentioned that it's always a surprise and whatnot. But generally speaking, even before this letter was written to you, the request, has there been any incident that you recall of the Chinese being targeted in Namibia, even by Namibians themselves, for being Chinese?
No, we did not experience here issue of xenophobia, though there were sometimes comments in our country against the Chinese in some labor related in terms of salaries. During those days, the issue of poaching were also, you know, railing their ugly heads. But as such, to say there were a serious issue for xenophobia, that the people, they don't probably like the Chinese as nationals. That one I did not pick it up. Of course, these are individual cases. They were targeting the comments or unhappiness were targeting those who were allegedly involved in issues like labor issues and the poaching.
Indeed.
Yes.
So before we move to the next topic, you can assure the nation, General Ndeitunga, that you are not under duress of some sort by the Chinese government to go out of your way, out of your normal routines to protect the Chinese, and that whatever services you are rendering is within the scope of your work, General.
Exactly. Our safety protocol or measures and the safety and security that we are providing in time or space is a universal. It includes everyone. To us, everyone is equal when it comes to protections and the treatment. We are not under jury, we are sovereign state. And we only do our business in accordance with our national laws and the international protocols.
Indeed. One of the, of course, moving away from the Chinese issue, one of the major news again involving the police in recent weeks was around the thousands of people that attended the burial of Ovaherero Paramount Chief Vekuii Rukoro recently, and how the police, I don't know whether you guys were simply overwhelmed by the numbers or you chose to be flexible in your enforcement strategy. What can you tell us about that particular incident? Because the police also was being questioned as to whether they were treating some people with giving special treatment to some people and not others.
No, I think the concern of the public is very valid.
Yeah.
But the context of the whole scenario is that we engaged the organizers to remind them about the COVID-19 protocols.
Yeah.
And we have emphasized on the COVID-19 protocols, and it seems either deliberate or otherwise, they could not adhere to what we have advised them. They can agree to say, yes, we are going to abide by the COVID-19 protocols.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you hear we are going to have a convoy of cars, and we are not going to get out from our cars. They just to convince you that there will be no, that the social distancing will be complied with.
Yeah.
And we have been really engaging them, but at the end of the day, we were surprised to have more than 2,000 people at the same site at Okahanja. We reminded them that what they were doing is outside of the protocols that are put in place by government to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. And then because people converged there, and in the majority they were elderly women and men, and all of them, they were involved, most of them, they were just involved in these rituals and the protocols of their culture. We thought it was not prudent for us to use the minimum force of dispersing them. That could have resulted in other serious, probably other serious inconvenience in those minimum use of force. They can result even in serious injuries. And then we thought, okay, we tried all peaceful means, and nobody wanted to adhere to the call. Let it go, and then we will deal with the organizers or the authority. That is probably the traditional authority. After we have investigated, and they probably find out if there are those who really purposely were inviting people or encouraging people to come, despite of the limited number. So we are done now with the investigations. In that case, we are sharing the investigation with the other stakeholders, such as the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of and the Attorney General, plus our ministers, so that we get a common understanding and pave the way forward. Should there be a need of charging some people who might have played a crucial role of probably inviting people to the site, we will do so in terms of the law. Some were saying these people, they just came here on their own. They are from Kahanja, they are from Ovitoto, they just flocked here. But we have investigated everything, and for sure we will take an appropriate decision, and which is fair, impartial, and objective. Indeed.
The final topic that I want to engage you on, General, is regarding the general conduct of your officers. When the police were, and you did a brilliant job generally as a police during the to enforce the curfews across the country. But during that period, so many things have happened. You know, filming of people in very compromising situations that borders on humiliation, especially. Just the filming of people, General, what is your take yourself as the head of the police? Is it something that you condone, or do you have rogue officers within the force that are just disobeying the instructions?
I'm not too sure which filming is being referred to, but it depends if you are doing things for collection of evidence. Yes. Or you are doing these type of things to humiliate any suspect who is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. That could be very wrong. You cannot film that, and that is not only on the police side, but police were supposed to be knowing better than any other members of the public. Sometimes. Some photos are taken for evidence collection, but that one I think are done genuinely or for a good purpose. But those that are taken as probably with malice to humiliate someone, and particularly taking a photo from someone, and then you start circulating it to other pages which have nothing to do with the investigation. That one is not permissible, and is unprofessional conduct that officers should stop with if that is the case.
There is some of these things have gone on for too long. I remember you commenting publicly last year. I think it was last year when someone was even made to swim in Tombo. I think they poured it out, and then a person was made to swim in that whole thing. I'm just thinking how much effort and investment is being made by the police to sort of professionalize the force itself, so that you really have police officers who understand human rights, but also doing their work diligently.
The training of police officers started from the college to transform a civilian mind into a uniform mind. And the training is based on the laws of the countries, particularly the constitution, where the basic human rights and freedom of citizens are enshrined. And they are very well articulated at the college, plus other issues of being a professional, objective, impartial, and making sure that at all time you are friendly, you are polite, but very firm and respectful when you are dealing with any suspect or any citizen who comes for the service of the police. Anywhere you go, in any team, you will always find some people who go astray. We call them medicals. They don't like it they don't want it to adhere to the discipline of the force. And we have a code of conduct that is very well explained to every police officer, that should you do this, this is the return. And therefore, those issues it's not a one day off. We'll always continue to sensitize our members to make sure that they don't act based on emotions. They have to cool down. They should not spare their frustration to the public. They have to always, at all time, be professional. And we have commanders and the supervisors, particularly commanders and supervisors, the one who should be in charge every morning before members goes or before they take their positions to render service to the public. They should remind them on professionalism, on politeness, on the love of their people, on the love of their career, to make sure that members of the public are happy the way we are receiving them as public servants.
Indeed. It's ironic, General, because a lot of people out there, the general public in particular, believe that if you as a civilian mention things like, oh, I know my rights, or can I speak to my lawyer, or I think you guys are not doing things within the confines of the law, that actually lands you in trouble more than anything else. And that is where I feel professionalism is a huge thing. I mean, for officers who are supposed to uphold the law and human rights. But maybe the final question, therefore, to you in that regard, General, is what repercussions what is your record of disciplining officers who are found to be doing things outside the confines of their work?
Yeah, before that, I should just tell you that there is an Englishman who said, it is not what you do, it's how you do it. Yeah, and you and I, we were not there about the incident. We do not know the background for what exactly had happened. Because when you talk to people who are in a conflict, everyone will want to tell you what you want to hear, what sounds better in your eyes, so that you can dance it to their music. And you will end up be biased in your judgment. And therefore, it is good that citizens, they tell the police they know their right. That is in the way, in a respective way when you are talking to the police.
Yeah.
And also police, even if the person is rude by telling you that they know their rights, police officer should always be firm and calm and cool, sober-minded, and they will just enforce the law. Indeed. If the person is rude, you say, my dear, if you don't cooperate, I will charge you with whatever charge you consider, but not argument and retaliating when there is no need for you to retaliate.
Indeed.
Now,
yeah.
The question.
Yes, please proceed.
The question you asked is, what is the question?
Yeah, the record of disciplining the unruly ones.
You know, we have a code of conduct, Regulation 15 of the Namibian Police Force, Namibian Police Force regulations, and everything is cascaded there. How to deal with a member, because also it has provided procedure for fairness and justice to be seen. Sometimes people, they want just to, when anything happens, then you just you have to follow procedures that are acceptable in a democratic and in a fairness processes. But we have many officers who have either been discharged, yes, reprimanded, resigned because they see that things are not going well on them, because when they are charged, arrested, prosecuted in court. I don't have the record here as you asked, yes. But rest assured that we are enforcing discipline, because this is a constitutional provision, yeah, to say anyone who is Inspector General of Police, you must prosecute those who do not abide by the law, whatever law prohibits misconduct. And if I don't prosecute them, I'm really falling low in the performance of my duty, my constitutional duty. And therefore, we are, of course, there are many things that are involved. If you look at the service condition also of the police, a lot needed to be improved. Yeah. You feel pity. Constables that are here in urban area, where the rent is very high and the salary are not compatible. Yeah. And you are dealing with multiple issues that also affect the morale and the performance of the members. Hence, you find some members involved in issue of corruption, which are serious issues. Because if you are charged with issues of corruption or theft, rest assured that you will no longer continue forming part of the police team. So there are really methods, legal methods, to deal with those who are indiscipline. Indeed. Yeah, it's a long way to go. But also some issues they are going by without being reported. That's why we are saying honestly and fairly, those who are offended or who observed the misconduct of the police, they should always call on the authority so that we can rectify and correct those issues. Indeed. General, thank you very much for your time. We always appreciate your presence here. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I thank you very much for not asking when I'm retired. No, you've already exhausted that question. That is General Sebastian Ndeitunga speaking to us about those issues, including the protection of the Chinese nationals and businesses in Namibia. I hope you now have a better perspective. But before I let you go, we saw what happened in Tokyo today. Christine Mboma and Beatrice Masilingi qualifying for the finals, and we just have some reaction on that
by the Namibia Sports Commission Public Relations Officer Chalo Chainda, commenting on his expectations and what he has observed at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics so far. Thank you for watching and good night.
We were born for this moment. For every rise, every fall, to make the impossible possible. To create moments that inspire and live the thrill of excellence.
On the grandest stage of all.
Forget the past, for the future awaits. This is that moment we've all been waiting for pride, for country, for you.
Brilliant performance that was.
The Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. It's go time on GoTV. Love it.
Good day, Master Chainda. Of course, we know that it is the Olympics, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, and we have seen some fireworks so far. Of course, I would just like to hear from you. What is your overview about the Olympics? How special are these games?
These games are very special in a unique way. I mean, we know that it's being played under tough conditions. So actually, the athletes themselves are being tested. The epic of a human being is being tested here, considerate of the pandemic that is prevailing. Nevertheless, they are also being played under very difficult conditions. I mean, I'm talking of the weather conditions. As of yesterday, I understand it was about 37 degrees in Tokyo at the Olympic Stadium. So you can see the kind of weather condition that our athletes are participating in. But I think all in all, we are happy with the outcome.
Okay, of course, we have had a few representatives not in medal contention and all, but so far, of course, there's still more races to go, but I'd just like to know what could be the highlight, apart from Namibian athletes, of course. Who would you say has been the biggest highlight apart from the Namibian athletes?
Well, I was very much impressed looking at a big surprise there. Last night, Sweden coming out with a gold medal in high jump. Everybody was hoping that the Jamaicans were going to beat them, but that's the nature of the Olympics. This guy just surprised the likes of the two best Jamaicans that they produced there in long jump. We've also seen a very good surprise in the 100 meter. I mean, an athlete that is not well known. I can't remember her name, but I think from the this athlete came from Norway and surprised the Americans off guard. I mean, the best of the best. You can see that the Olympics can produce results in a single moment. The person that you didn't expect had come and shine.
In terms of quality, what do you think Africa offers to the Olympics? Can you imagine an Olympics without African nations, without an African flag?
Well, that will not be an Olympics. In fact, Africa brings they are a big contender in the Olympics. Talk of the marathon events. You cannot have the marathon without the African champions, and you have seen already in the hits. Just when they started already, African representation is there. Swimming, for example, South Africa came out in water polo. They, in as much as they could not produce any results there, you can see the quality and the experience. Olympics is about getting experience. We can hope that South Africa, when they go back into the water polo event, they will be able to perform very well and give surprises. I think also it was, I think
Schumacher as well.
Yes.
She beat the world record as
exactly.
well.
So those are some of the surprises that you can see. I've also watched, I think it's the part where I think it was Cameroon who played very well in basketball. They surprised. I mean, they only lost to almost 2-3 points. which is to me showing that Africa can still have a lot to offer to the world in terms of our experience and the level of competition that we are exposed to at the moment.
Thank you, Chalo.